So a point at Selhurst Park made it 5 undefeated for the Whites. Now the sternest test of the recent run. The champions are in town. Ellen Road's going to be packed for the visit of Man City. And this is the warm-up. Coming up for you this week on the show.
I'm more of a guitarist.
No, you're not.
You're
more of a singer. All you do is sing and it changes.
Maybe lock them doors and turn the lights down low.
If Leeds win against Man City, you give us all a rendition of something soulful.
The best team in the world against the best club in the world.
So joining me, as always, a Leeds United legend, Don Matteo. Celebrated his birthday this week as well. A very happy birthday from everyone at Ellen Road. Let's get stuck into the action. We'll preview City, of course, in full very shortly. But before we do that, let's just take a look back to Monday night down at Selhurst Park. Waking up on Monday morning and having to wait that long for the game is it's excruciating.
It's tough.
A tough point earned down in London, and we get to bring that back up to us to Ellen Road.
Yeah, for sure. I think you always know the kind of atmosphere you're going to get at Selhurst Park as well. For me, it's one of the best. Little tight stadium, and they were certainly up for it. Palace as well. Vieira had them proper going. I think it was a game they thought they could win. But yeah, like you mentioned, it was a great point. I think anything away from home we'll take, and I think at some point to that game as well, they were getting the better of us. So I think it was. To get that point for me personally was massive. And people might say, we could have got better, but the way the game was going, we took the point, we didn't concede, another clean sheet, and we've moved forward again into the next game, even though it's against Man City.
Are you doing what all Leeds fans are doing at the moment, which is watching these games, kind of kicking every ball, headering everyone? It's stressful.
Do you know what it is? But it always has been when you play for Leeds United or you work for Leeds United. That's the way it is. I think we can't knock the players though, because they've put a shift in every time I've watched them. All right, there's been games on the end of a few goals, but you know what? We can't knock the lads. They do put a shift in. They give it everything. At times they maybe make wrong choices, but overall, the lads had a right good go, and it isn't an easy place to go to. And we did have that little bit of a break, and sometimes it's hard. People say, you should be fresh, you've had that little break. I get that to a certain point, but also I think you're better to be playing games constantly. For me, that's what I liked. When you sometimes get a break, it's hard to get that momentum going as well.
As we mentioned, it's 5 undefeated, 11 points from 15. Jesse Marsch saying after the game, if you'd said to me 5 games ago that in the next 5 games we'd get 11 points, I'd have signed on the dotted line. And he's right, isn't it? In terms of the run, in terms of the points, this is the most crucial thing at this point of the season.
Of course it is, and like you say, the stats you've just shown there, you just said there, are absolutely brilliant. Would any of us expected that, being brutally honest? Maybe we would have thought, if we get to this points tally at this point, we'd probably have taken that. Could we got any more points? Probably not. I think it's about right. And there were some performances we had to dig in, and we've shown the character that the lads have. At times the lads' character has been in question, but not for me, because I've just seen that willingness to will and willingness to keep going, which is the Leeds spirit, and that's part of us growing up, and it's the DNA that they have, and these lads are carrying it on.
I'm sure when you're a footballer, you're on a football team, you take the positives into the next game with you. 2 clean sheets in a row now. Does that breed confidence in a defence that actually we can keep clean sheets here?
Yeah, because I think it has been something that's been talked about with Leeds, because we play so much good attacking football. But I think Liam Cooper coming back into the team has really helped with his voice and being captain, and also getting the team organised. And I think that's the one thing that he's brought that I think we have missed. And when Coops plays, there seems to be a little bit more patience within the build-up and the way we play. So I think he's been doing a fantastic job. But I think overall with the team, we can pick a lot of things out of many games. But I just think the togetherness is still there, which for me, at this stage of a season, is absolutely crucial. Whatever the result is this weekend, we've got to forget about if it does go badly. Because it might, but hopefully, from the performances and the results we've had recently, we should be coming into this game with a bit of confidence and forget about who you're playing against. Man City are the best team at the moment. We know that. But somehow we've got to find a way to try and get something and get them a bit worried about playing against us. I'm sure they won't be, because that's Man City. But somehow we've got to get that fear into them as well.
There's a chance Illan Meslier could be a busy boy this weekend.
Yeah.
Like we say, 2 clean sheets in a row. At the moment when he's called upon, especially in that Palace game, double save against Will Zaha.
Yeah.
He really does step up to those moments. He's having a great season.
He really is. I mean, how many times have we commented on throughout this year when we've been working? For a young lad, he is one of those lads that I'm sure we all think of this as well. He's getting better and better, and for such a young age, being a goalkeeper is very, very difficult. The concentration levels for a young player, he has that. Yes, he probably thinks he can get better at it, but that's what he should be like. And I've been so impressed with him. And even at Palace, when we've seen him come and grab a few balls, we know he's got them, we know how tall he is, but he just come and he took control of the game at times. And even with his distribution, I thought that was excellent. At times, I would like him to go along at times for us. But overall, he's been absolutely outstanding this year. For me, probably right up there for one of the players of the season.
Football is the beautiful game, of course. It was attritional on Monday night. It was a bit feisty towards the end, but the Leeds players were getting right stuck into it as well. There must be something wrong with the pitch at Selhurst Park, some sort of magnetism, whether the players, the Palace players seemed to be attached to the grass from time to time. I don't know what was going on there, but the Leeds players were really up for it. They properly got stuck in. They were like, we're not leaving here without something.
Well, that's it, and I've mentioned that. You've mentioned the same thing. I think we know what we get out of the team and the lads, but they're up against a good opposition in Palace, and I think Sahar obviously he's a right player, isn't he? They've got some other players who've got a lot of pace, but I think for me, when you go to a place like that, it's just I was like saying all along, just don't get beat. Take something from the game so we can move into this next game with a bit more confidence. Because if you're being beaten there, then you come into play against Man City, it might just change the way you're thinking a little bit. So at least we're coming into it with positivity and with them clean sheets, as you mentioned.
Final thing on the Palace game, full 90 minutes for Calvin, first since November.
Yeah.
Just good to see him back out. For the team, for him as well, to get a full 90 minutes under his belt.
Yeah, and he put a shift in, let's be honest. And I think when you've been out for so long, you just expect players just to come back in and be bang at it again. But it's a process. I've been there myself as a player, but I think Calvin handled it brilliantly. Maybe he could have gotten the ball, but I think sometimes you've got to feel your way into a game, and hopefully we'll see the best of him against Man City today. OK,
before we get into the full preview of Leeds against Manchester City, let's just take a look elsewhere in the Premier League. You can't help now but start looking at the other games.
Yeah. And
the teams around us, it's only a natural thing to do. Matteo's click saying this week, nobody's going to be doing us any favours. It's kind of down to us. So let's just take a look at some of the games. Watford against Burnley. Watford are in, without being cliched, last chance saloon territory right now. They have to beat Burnley. Burnley 2 wins in a row and suddenly looking like Barca. I mean, what's going to happen in that game?
It just showed you the Premier League, how brutal it can be at times. I'll be honest, I was thinking Burnley might be done, but fair play to them. They have bounced back and they're giving it a right good go. And like you say, up against Watford, it is the last chance they've probably got, Watford. But it's a really hard game to call that. Like I said, it wouldn't surprise me if that was a draw, but I think Burnley at the moment just maybe have the edge over Watford to try and get something out of this game.
Elsewhere, Everton, first time in the drop zone this season. They entertain Chelsea. Tough game for them, isn't it?
Yeah, like you mentioned, it's very similar to the other game. It's hard to call them games, and I think because there's so much at stake. Not for Chelsea. They might be just relaxed a little bit because they're more or less safe, a couple more points, and they'll kind of be in the top three. Whereas for Everton as a club, this game is massive. They are desperate for points, definitely, and we know they've got a game in hand. But overall, they haven't been playing any kind of football that's going to win you football matches. At home, I think they'll be different. I think they will dig out a few results at home, but away, they've really struggled. And
Liverpool, ahead of our tea time kick-off, have a chance to really put the pressure on Man City, but they've got to go to Newcastle. Newcastle, one of the form teams, 4 wins in a row, and at home, 6 on the bounce.
Yeah, no, it's incredible, isn't it? When you hear them stats, it just shows the job that Eddie Howe's done. And unexpected for me. I thought they'd be okay when Eddie came in, but I didn't think they'd do as well as what they had, and that's me being honest. And I think it's a difficult game for Liverpool, even though they're coming off a Champions League brilliant game against Villarreal, great performance, and the way the lads played was outstanding, the Liverpool side of it. But who knows? And it's sometimes at Newcastle's always a difficult game. Liverpool have had some interesting games against them over the years. I've been part of a few of them 4-3s over the years, and they were crazy. So a tough game, but I think Liverpool just edged that.
Okay, huge one this weekend. We're really looking forward to it. I hope you are as well. The full preview for Man City coming up, but before we get to that, let's hear the thoughts of Leeds United's head coach, Jesse Marsch.
it is an ultimate test, maybe the ultimate test. And I'm very honest when I say that I think they're the best team in the world. They're the talent they have, I think, speaks for itself. Their manager does an incredible job of creating a tactical model that is very complex, and one that the players understand very, very well and are able to execute very well. And it's one that's incredibly difficult to defend against. And that's what you see more often than anything, is that Man City has an ability to control the match over time by their quality and their movement and their ideas and their ability to unbalance you and often unbalance you in one area and then attack you in another. And so we will have to be very clear with exactly what our tactics are for the day, what our strategies are for the day, and we have to find moments to not just be passive throughout the match, because that's what happens is they can put so much pressure on teams with the ball and then with their counter-pressing that they just suffocate teams. And we have to be confident and better with the ball, and then we have to understand the moments that strategically we can still be aggressive. And so that's not easy, but a massive challenge. But hopefully on the day we can use our crowd and find ways to find advantages and see if we can fight for a result.
So the run coming up for Leeds looks a little bit tasty. 3 of the top 4 teams to play. Chelsea and Arsenal on the way, but it starts with the visit of the current champions, hoping to be champions once again, Manchester City. Dom, I'll start with the easy question. How do you stop them?
Defend very well. Kick them a few times as well. That always helps. But no, listen, we know the qualities they have. Just, I think, against the Man City, we've been too gung-ho at times. So I think at home, do the basics well. I always talk about doing them well, but it's just part of my DNA, that is. And if we do that, it gives us a better chance to get something against them. We know how good they are. We can talk about all the qualities they have, but it's what we do against them as well. If we make it easy for them, they'll take advantage of that, and it could be, it could be whatever it could be. But for us, we've got to start well, because they have been starting games very well. So for us, it's important we start very well in the first 10-15 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, you're always one for saying, it's how you approach the game from the off, and you'll say that whether it's the bottom team or the top team. Yeah. But just a few for you in terms of City being fast starters recently. Their recent games scored after 4 minutes against Watford, 2 minutes against Real Madrid, 5 minutes against Liverpool, 5 minutes against Burnley, 12 minutes against Southampton, that was letting them off the hook, and 5 minutes against Manchester United as well. They're not messing about. The message to them is clearly from Pep: get out there, get a good start, so that you're on the front foot.
And I also think that Pep, he knows weaknesses in certain teams, and that approach, that fast start, can take people by surprise. And just let's hope it doesn't take us by surprise, because if as a player or a manager, you'll have seen what's been happening. So you have to think, right, first 5-10 minutes, keep it tight, give yourself a chance. Against City, you can't allow them that kind of space and the freedom on the pitch, because whichever team they put out, they've got quality to hurt you. So for us, for me, it's getting their faces, and also about positional sense for me. I think against the top sides, you've got to be in the right positions. If you're not, they'll find your weaknesses very quickly, and before you know it, the game's out of your reach. So again, positionally wise, stay in the right positions, defend well, do the basics well, and try and grind the game out and try and get something out of it.
From a Leeds point of view, that's what you do, isn't it? Everyone's got to be at 100%, don't they? Everyone's got to do their job to 8, 9 out of 10 standard, and hope maybe Man City aren't at their best. Yeah. It's then trying to find their weakness and exploit that. Do they have one? If so, where is it?
I think, obviously, recently they've had a few injuries in defence, so I think we've got to look at that. We've got to see who's fit and see who's not fit. And I think we can get at them, because we've got a bit of pace in our ranks. We've got some good players, some clever players, but when we get our chances against the top teams, you have to take them. If you don't, eventually you'll get done, because they take their chances more often than not, these teams, and they create so many. So for us, if we get a sniff on a shot on goal, take your chance, put your foot through it. Don't take, for me, sometimes I always see us trying to be too nice with the football. Put your foot through it, smash it right into that corner, make it difficult for them. Because we have got some quality and we have got some pace, so we've got to match that. But also the other side of the coin is, for me, we need to make them not feel like it's going to be a day out, a nice day out. It's got to be difficult from the get-go. You've got to get at them straight away. It's a bit of a later kick-off, so the fans are going to be revved up. That's the one thing we've really got on our side. The fans are going to be so noisy. at Ellen Road today, and we've got to be really ready for that. And if we are, and the fans get behind us, who knows what can happen.
Leeds United are one of the few teams who can say they've beaten Man City in the last couple of seasons.
Yeah.
Look, earlier this season, it was totally the opposite of that at the Etihad. We know that. But when you have beaten a team, when you have taken 4 points off them in a recent season, does it give you a little bit of belief that actually, on our day, if we get it right, we can go toe-to-toe?
Yeah, most definitely. We know it'll be difficult. Like I said, we've mentioned the qualities they have. But for us, we've got to make it a little bit dirty for them as well. That's the way we'll get something out of the game. There's no two ways about it. If we play lovely, nice, free-flowing football against Man City, honestly, we'll get done. So we've got to mix it up properly. And the one thing again that I say, when you're playing in big games like this against a team that maybe got better players and they're better than you, on your day, you've got to be giving it 100%. I know they will be, but you can't have anyone having a day off against Man City. Against them top clubs, you have a day off, you will get found out. So it's all about, for me, the start and then the leaders within the group pushing the boys forward.
Manchester City involved, obviously, in the most incredible Champions League game midweek. They will have half an eye, I guess, on that. Look, Pep's not going to let them come into this focusing on that. They'll be focused on this game. They know how important it is, especially with Liverpool playing before them as well. If Leeds were to get a penalty against Man City, would you like to see one of our players dinking a little Panenka like Benzema the other night? Or
well, listen, if he scores it, but if he misses it, no. For me, I mean, that's a different level, isn't it, when you see that kind of skill. I mean, I think if I did that, I'd end up in Rose Ed, but that's the way them players play. It's great to watch if it comes off. It doesn't come off, you look a bit of an idiot, but that's the kind of quality that these clubs possess. And we've, like I said, I just feel we have to somehow do our own bits as well, because they're going to have most of the ball. And usually at home we have most of the ball, so we've got to change that up as well. We've got to try and get on the ball. I think going back to the Palace game briefly, is that we didn't keep the ball very well at all. Whereas against Man City, you can't give them the ball all the time because they will make some happen. So for us, keep the ball better. And in certain areas, let the players get a rest at times. Give people a little rest, because we know it's going to be frenetic against this Man City team. They're going to come straight at it, as you mentioned. In the early parts of games, they've been scoring early. So first and foremost, let's defend early. Let's defend properly in the early part of the game.
Well, before we get your match prediction, Dom, first we will hear from two of Leeds United's young stars, Charlie Cresswell and Joe Geldart, discussing the big topics of the day and trying their hand at a little bit of karaoke. Thankfully, they are better football players than they are singers.
Maybe lock them doors and turn them lights down low. What's classical music? Susan Boyle, innit? I'm loving angels instead. I've let it get this far. It's not going any further, look. That's why you're so soft in the games and that. Soft, but I think rap's just woeful.
Hi, I'm Charlie Cresswell.
I am Joe Geldart.
And this is Hot or Not with Box.
What's pop?
I could do a bit of rock and roll, you know. Bit of Oasis, Liam Gallagher.
Send maybe.
Where do we start here, Joe?
The worst one.
The worst one? Good joke.
No, it is.
No, it's not. That's not the worst. You only think that's worse because I love it.
Classical is the worst.
Yeah. Pop's just poor.
Yeah, but when it comes on in the car on the radio, you like,
What?
have a little.
Like you love a bit of Taylor Swift, do you?
A little bit.
Do
yeah,
you?
You can get away with it.
I'm saying pop's going cold. I'm saying it's rock, and then we're debating between country and rap.
That would be there if you were. Rock's better than pop.
Yeah, Oasis, Stone Roses, yeah. Can't beat it. I'd debate that with them two.
In the same category as them two?
Yeah.
Where's House? Why's House not on there? What's that fall into?
Is it stuck?
There's no. Are we agreeing on rock?
I'm saying rock, and then we'll debate the last two. What you're saying is rap.
Well, you've got rap like the Jake and all them lot, and then you've got R&B.
Do you not just find it just does your head in?
No.
Country's like just chills you out and it's just nice.
You played about 3 tunes to me in the changes and they're
And you love
awful.
it. They're not. They're just nice and relaxing. They are nice and relaxing.
They're not. Before the game, rap in the changing room.
When I'm driving to a game, I've got country on, dreaming about going to Nashville one day.
That's why you're so soft in the games and that.
Soft?
Yeah. Not pumped up whatsoever. I've let it get this far. It's not going any further. Look.
In my opinion, country's boiling hot. Boiling.
I think pop should be higher than rock as well.
Nah.
He's too stubborn.
I'll give you that one.
No, you haven't.
I have give you
it.
one.
Should
No,
be,
you haven't. I'll give you that.
Should be, yeah.
What, worse than classical?
What's classical music?
Susan Boyle, innit?
I'm happy with that.
I'm happy with that. This is our ranking for music. I'm not too pleased about the end result, but I have to give him something, don't I? Let us know what you think. I'm more of a guitarist.
No, you're not.
I do.
You're more of a singer. What you do is sing in the changes.
Baby, lock them doors and...
Count you in.
Mate,
Come on, we'd make a bad duo, you know. A 1, 3, 2. A 1, 2, 3, 4. Baby, lock them doors and turn them lights down low. I've been thinking about you all night long. One of them ones. Is that the one you meant? I was probably kidding you, though.
Like a bit of singing, Dom, in the changing room with the boys. What would be your song of choice after a game?
Oh, there's always a few in there. To be honest, I was never in charge of the music, so that maybe tells you something. I like something a bit upbeat, anything a bit dancey, soulful. Sometimes people don't like that, they probably want it pumping, don't they, some of the boys? But for me, a bit more soulful, slow it all down a bit.
Yeah. Don Matteo, take it away. No. Let's get your match prediction. It's a tough one. It's as tough as they come, really, isn't it? Taking on Manchester City. What's the score going to be, Dom?
Again, I think if we can get anything out of this game, it'll be absolutely brilliant. So I'm going to try and hopefully predict it a draw. I'm going to go for 2-2.
Okay. If Leeds win against Man City, you give us all a rendition of something soulful on the next show.
I'll try.
All right, fine. That's something to motivate the players, I think, isn't it? Leeds United taking on Manchester City. Tea time kickoff. You can follow the action on LUTV. And your commentary team, as always, will be Bryn Law and Tony DeRigo. Enjoy the game.